Hello.
Hi.
We're back from download. And ever since we got back, we've been feeling pretty bad, and we're still feeling not great, but we are doing a lot better. Unfortunately, we did get the download flu that probably everybody got. If you didn't get it, then please tell me your secrets. How are you so healthy and invincible? Because I really want to know.
And please send a vial of your blood to this address so that we can use your antibodies for when we go next year.
Apparently, we've been back for 2 weeks now, and we're still not over the fact that we've been to Download Festival, and we still have a lot that we want to talk about that we didn't really get to talk about in the video. So we decided to put up a post on my Instagram and the Random Goth Couple Instagram asking you if you had any questions for us. And now we're going to answer them. So the first question that we got is from my friend Elvingor. Elvingor wants to know, where can I get some good fish and chips?
Can I get some good fish and chips?
So if you didn't go to Download and you don't get that joke, then I was going to say go to Download next year, but surely they won't put us through that again.
Just never run it again, ever, anywhere.
Yeah, between that and then the guitar riff. Between that and the fish and chips, it's just like running through our heads like over and over again. Although the weird thing is, some people are saying that they never heard it.
I tuned it out for like a day or two, and it only hit me on like Saturday that I heard it over and over again and was like, oh my god. And also the Wargasm one. Are you sufficiently sweaty now?
Well, I think you're all looking sufficiently sweaty right about now.
Over and over and over again. And it didn't matter where we were in the festival, you would just hear in the background, where can I get some good fish and chips? I think you're sufficiently sweaty now. Over again.
Other than that, I think there was another ad that I didn't notice, which was the Bring Me the Horizon one. That was the fish and chip one. All I heard was fish and chips, and then yeah, maybe I heard them say come visit the chapel, but I thought it was a joke the whole time. Did anyone else think that was a joke? So I never went. And then when we got home, Conor told me about it, and I was like, I would have went, although it seemed like it was a lot of effort, especially in the heat and everything. So if you did that, congratulations. People were winning like tickets for life and stuff, so it probably was worth it. I didn't think it was real. And even when Bring Me the Horizon were on, they said it again, and I was like, it's not real. The second question we got is from D Munich, and it says, where did you stay and were you allowed to take water bottles inside?
We didn't camp at the festival, which if you watched the video, you probably noticed. We stayed in an Airbnb that was about maybe a half an hour to like 35 minutes away from the festival grounds, which when we were planning this out didn't seem that far away, and we were like, wow, it's like so close. But then when it came to the actual festival, it felt like it was a million miles away sometimes, especially the first day we were going there, because there was such an issue with the traffic getting to and from the festival. All in all, from when we left our Airbnb to when we actually walked into the arena at Download, I think it took us about 3.5 hours. But that's because we spent over an hour waiting for a bus that just never came. Then we called a taxi, which we waited on for about 15 minutes. Then we were in the taxi for about an hour because the taxi couldn't get to Download. It had to drive like 5 miles past Download, turn around, and then come at it from a completely different angle. And then they had dropped us off at the wrong entrance for us, and Lynn and I had to walk for about 45 minutes to get to our correct entrance, and then once we got to our entrance it was about another 15 to 20 minute walk just to get into the arena. It was just one of those things where everything went wrong like one after another. We only like kind of ran into issues that day. After that it was fine. Once we figured out where our bus stop was, they ran pretty much every 20 minutes to a half an hour, and the bus stop was real close to our Airbnb, and it took us about half an hour to get to the festival. I'm glad we stayed there. It was really nice. It was just on a couple of friends staying there. I just love having a real bed and a working shower and a kitchen. Those are things I need to survive festivals.
As for the water bottles, you can take your own bottle in. There is free water there. We're very
Careful.
We're very careful. My stomach is like not the best, so I wasn't going to chance it by drinking that water just because I wasn't sure. But a lot of our friends did, and they were fine.
I think it had to be under a certain size and it had to be empty when you got there. I had like a 500ml reusable bottle clipped to my belt the entire time we were there. But as I said, we didn't want to risk drinking the free water because we heard stories. So I just used it to kind of pour my other drinks into to carry it around more conveniently.
Also, the stories were about like other festivals that we just heard, like that just kind of scared us about all festivals. Like, but yeah, we just drank Liquid Death for the most part. Sometimes I actually arrived with a water bottle and they let me bring it in. I think they just kind of knew that it was very hot, so I think they were nice in the sense that if they knew it wasn't alcohol, then they were letting you bring it in for the walk. They weren't too strict on that, but you're not supposed to do that.
But also at another point we were going in one entrance and I had 10 mils of liquid left at the bottom of my bottle, and security made me empty it out onto the ground. ground.
You were like, it's empty. And he's like, but it's not empty.
Yeah, I
It's
was
not empty.
literally like, oh, that bottle's empty. And he's like, no, it's not. And made me pour it out in front of him. And I swear to God, I poured this bottle out in front of him. And a teardrop amount of liquid came out of it and fell onto the ground. But I'm never going to give security for doing their job. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I wish I had recorded it. It was comical. The minuscule amount of liquid that came out of that bottle. The next question is from Black Rose 2420. What would you want to do the next time you went to Download Festival? I don't think there's actually anything we didn't do that I wanted to do. Also, we are definitely going to be on this Ferris wheel. I want to try to get on the Ferris wheel tomorrow. I'll try to get on the Ferris wheel at some point today, but I'm determined to get on that Ferris wheel today. On a Ferris wheel. I want to go on the Ferris wheel. Ferris wheel, Ferris wheel. On a serious note, the Ferris wheel would be nice. The reason that it was even more painful that we didn't get to go do it, and I kept saying it every day, was that our friends actually did it. They did it the first day they got there when Lynn and I had to go around to get to our other entrance. And the whole time they were telling us, oh, you really need to do it for the video because the view you get is amazing. Like, it's crazy. So the first thing I'm doing when I set foot into Download Festival next year is getting on that Ferris wheel. I don't care if I have to go on my own. It's worth it just for the B-roll alone.
I think the next time I would like to try and see some more bands.
We
Insert
saw-
all the bands we saw.
We saw more than I thought we would have.
I think just on the Saturday, I was so tired that I just sat down and I couldn't move for a while, so I missed like Disturbed and stuff. So I could have definitely seen about 2 or 3 more bands. Most of all, we would like to not melt next year. That's the first thing on the list.
I'm gonna cut to this exact video in next year's download vlog if we go, when we're being just battered with torrential rain. It's gonna be so wet and windy and rainy, and I'm gonna cut to you saying, I'd like to just not melt.
The next question is from Serenic, and it says, who was your favorite band playing? I feel like this changed. So when we were preparing to go, I was super excited about seeing Slipknot. That was my number 1 on the list. I was very excited, and I mostly just listened to Slipknot preparing for a download. Why are you laughing?
You're wearing a Slipknot t-shirt. What band are you most excited for? Well, I think
Oh gee,
maybe...
I don't know. Anyway, I was very excited to see Slipknot, and it was good. It was good. It was a lot better than the time we saw them here. But I know that Corey wasn't feeling the best, but still put on a great show. I don't know what it was. It could have been just that we were really tired and it was the last thing, but I don't know how I felt about it.
It wasn't an amazing performance by them.
Yeah.
The only thing was Tortilla Man. That dude has so much energy. If it hadn't been for him, I probably would have ragged on Slipknot's performance. Tortilla Man saved the entire performance for me. Hanging off the side of the stage, climbing over bars, hanging off, dropping off barriers and stuff. That man
Very
is
entertaining.
the best addition to Slipknot ever. Like, he's so good.
Also, when we were getting the flight over to Download, we did get the sad news that Clown was not gonna make it to Download. So we were very surprised to see that Clown was actually there. And it was really funny because someone behind me was like, is that Clown? And I was like, I don't know. And I was like, it looks like Clown, but I'm like, did they just get like some body double or something? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's Clown, because surely somebody would have told us, right? Like, they made the announcement and we were all really sad about it.
Literally a minute later, Corey was like, ladies and gentlemen, we got him back.
So that was great because there are other band members that were missing. I think what it was a specific band just ruined the rest of it for us because they were so good that no band I will ever see will ever compare to this band and how good they were. And that band was Bring Me the Horizon. They brought it up, and no one can ever beat this. Like, it was just absolutely amazing. Everything they did, like, the energy was there. The sets were absolutely amazing. And I think that kind of just set the bar so high for everybody that when it came to Slipknot then, it was just like, oh.
I hate to be a fanboy and be like, oh my god, Bring Me the Horizon, we're so good, especially because it loses Goth credit. But objectively, even someone who didn't like or doesn't like Bring Me the Horizon, if they stood there and watched that show, they would have to admit that that was an incredible performance. Honestly, one of the most intricate and well performed concerts by a rock band I've ever seen. There was not a single moment of that show that they would allow to be boring. It's real high energy. The production value is just through the roof. Stage setup, insane. One of the wildest things I've ever seen. For me, if I had to pick, obviously Bring Me the Horizon were incredible. But my favourite performance of the weekend was a toss-up between Perturbator. I was very excited to see Perturbator for the first time. I missed them the last time they were here in Ireland. Their stage is great, their performance was amazing, but I have to say my favourite performance of the entire weekend goes to Electric Callboy. They were playing on a smaller stage, but that didn't stop them. Their stage setup was amazing. They played a 90-minute set. They had so much energy. They were so funny. They had pyro, they had fireworks, they had confetti cannons, they had string cannons, they played the Frozen soundtrack, they played the Backstreet Boys. It was an experience.
That's fair, I do agree. It was a great show, and it was so impressive that they did that in such a small tent. And also it shows how they deserve bigger stage as well, because so many people were queuing outside. There were hundreds of people outside just listening because they couldn't get in. They were a close second for me. The next question is from Arabidal. I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Any crazy stuff that happened at Download that you didn't catch on film? If so, what made you go WTF? So glad that you asked this question. I was hoping that somebody would ask so I can talk about what I saw.
This answer is going to be heavily censored on the YouTube version, so if you want to check out our Patreon to hear the story in full.
To set the whole scene, pendulum were on, and my feet were very sore. I wore my demonia shoes. Insert a picture somewhere here. Or I do not recommend you wearing boots like that. I wore them because I wanted to be tall and I wanted to be able to see the bands because I am small. It was so sore that I was like, I need to take my shoes off. And it was hot in those shoes too, okay? So just give me a chance here. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take them off for a few minutes while we're watching Pendulum, because that's more of just a dancey dance. You don't really need to see them. Visually, it wasn't the best because unfortunately they had to play in the daylight, which please let them play at night time next time. It would just be a lot better. So I'm standing there with my shoes off in my socks. And Conor's beside me. I think I might have been crouching down actually.
You were crouched down on the ground.
Even worse.
Gremlin stance.
I was just doing a little gremlin on the ground, right? And I was just like this, just having a break, you know? And people were just walking out and I was kind of just on the ground looking at people walking out. I could see like people's knees basically, I guess.
You were at knee height.
I was at knee height. I wasn't really looking like on purpose. A few people walked by and then someone walked by and they were wearing shorts. And through their shorts, I could just see a water stream going down. Like heavy water stream. Just shooting out of the end of the shorts, and I was just like standing there with my feet out just going. It wasn't like close enough to me to get over to me. Thankfully it was just far enough away, but I was just looking at my feet and I was like, oh, I should not be having my shoes off right now. And this guy was just walking normally, just do while this water stream was just shooting out like right from the, and Conor didn't see it, and I'm like thinking I'm losing my mind because it was just shooting so fast and there was so much coming out, and this person was just like walking. That was definitely the weirdest thing I saw. I was like in disbelief. Fair play to you, because I did look at your face and you just didn't look like that was actually happening, but it was happening.
The most incredible poker face.
Incredible poker face.
Next question, or questions, is from Wolf Celine. They said, is it expensive? And Holly the Strange said, how much were the tickets plus accommodation, etc. So yes, it was expensive. It is an investment. It is a lot. Thankfully, we were actually provided guest tickets to Download, so that saved on a massive expense for us. The tickets for this year were, I think, £300 for the 4-day arena with no camping. So that's the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You get entry to all 4 days, but you're not camping. I'll double check and put the figures on screen, but I think the 4-day or the 5-day arena camping was something like 50 add-on for the regular camping for the 5 days, which meant you got there on the Wednesday, could set up your camp, and then you were there till the following Monday. So it is cheaper to camp. Obviously, there are camping upgrades and stuff you can get. There's the Rip camping, there's the Metal Meadow, a few different camping upgrades that you can get, and they range from 50 to up to like 1,000 or something like that for these like glamping kind of tent areas where everything is pre-set up for you and you have like real beds and stuff like that. We, as we said earlier, were lucky that we stayed in an Airbnb with a big group of our friends, so it was very reasonable for us. We got extremely lucky because there were 5 of us staying in our Airbnb, and it wasn't a extremely overpriced Airbnb to begin with, so we got lucky in that aspect. When it comes to travel for us was very reasonable, because it is traveling between Ireland and the UK is always pretty reasonable, especially if you book it in advance. You can get flights to London from Dublin for sometimes like €10, €20 return. When it comes to the actual festival itself, Download put set prices for pretty much everything that was sold at the festival. Whether it be water, it could only cost a certain amount. I think think it was like £2.50 for water. Foods could only be a certain amount. I think it was like £5.50 or £6 was the max a serving of fries on its own could cost. But it was literally everything down to like how much t-shirts and things like that could cost. At the end of the day, it is a festival though. You expect food and drink to cost more than it would on average. But honestly, from experience in the festivals and like big concerts I've been to in my life, download was pretty reasonable in the grand scheme of things.
I was very surprised. I think it was very reasonable, like Conor said. It wasn't too expensive, and there was a lot of different food to decide from as well. I was worried because there's a lot of things I can't eat, but it was pretty good. As for merch and stuff, I feel like maybe band t-shirts and stuff were like £45, which is quite expensive, but that's actually the set rate for concerts and stuff now as well at the moment. That's why we didn't get any merch, because it was just so expensive.
Pretty much £45 for a t-shirt for any band merch, which would have made my jaw hit the floor if you had told me that 2-3 years ago. But it is unfortunately just the industry standard now. We've been to some concerts this year and all the merch is pretty much 40 to 45.
A hoodie is like £90.
Yeah, hoodies at concerts now cost 80 to £90. It's crazy. But I understand that it is down to like production costs being so much money. Obviously, we have our own merch store that we run. I can see the costs on our side of things, how much it is to produce merch and to sell a t-shirt for 45 quid. They're not even making that big of a profit on it. It is definitely expensive, the experience overall, but if you think about it as like a holiday, it kind of matches up with the sort of level of expense you expect to spend if you were going on like a holiday. It is definitely worthwhile. It is definitely not unreasonable. There are definitely festivals that are way more expensive and way more unreasonable, especially when it comes to cost of like food and drinks and things like that, but it is 100% worth it.
Also, I want to say that the food was very good, so it was really worth the price, and it was actually very filling food as well. I'm still thinking about that giant Yorkshire pudding. Every day I think about it. It was really good. Like, I've heard a lot of other YouTubers talking about it, and it was actually so good. The gravy was just amazing. It was huge. I didn't even finish it, but I definitely recommend you trying that.
The next question is again from Wolf Celine, and they said, do you think it would be safe for a woman to go alone?
The thing I was most afraid about going to Download Festival was just the crowd and how, you know, people would be really just like wanting to mosh, and like I could get hurt there and stuff, and people might be like getting rowdy and drinking and stuff like that. But I was pleasantly surprised. Everybody was super nice, super caring. If they thought like you couldn't see in front, they would ask you if you were okay and if you would like them to move out of the way. Like even during Slipknot, everyone that was around us were very helpful. Even though people wanted to mosh and have a good time, they wanted people to be able to stay safe if you didn't want to mosh. They helped us when we wanted to leave. I felt very safe there, even on my own. Like I did feel safe there. Very chatty as well. Like people did want to just talk and get to know you, and were just so incredibly kind and full of compliments, and it was like a huge family. It was like a huge Download family. So I would say it is great. Like you can join like Facebook groups and stuff, and you can find friends there. There are people that are going alone. You can get to know someone before that. There are ways around it, and you can always like meet somebody there. Like I don't want to say, oh yeah, it's completely safe, because you know,
nowhere is completely safe at all times.
I've talked to a lot of people there, and everybody said they felt safe there.
Things did get a bit weird when it got late at night, you know, and obviously people are very far into their day, but no one was like overtly weird or made us uncomfortable or anything like that. These kind of situations can change very drastically, very quickly. What one person's experience could be entirely different to someone else's experience. But there was a lot of security there. The security were very nice and very helpful.
The nicest security ever, by the way, as well.
It was extremely nice, really helpful. They were listening to people about their situations and helping them with everything that they could. Would it be entirely safe to go alone? It could be, it could not be. I would say in general, yeah, it would be pretty good, but unfortunately there's no way you could say, yeah, you would be 100% fine.
Overall, we had a really good experience, and from people that I was talking to, you know, everybody said they felt safe there. I did have a lot of friends that went there alone, and they said it was fine and made new friends and everything, so it's definitely a good idea to go on Facebook and find a good group there as well.
Beast of Burden asks, what was the most annoying and challenging part about attending Download. The walking, honestly, and I feel like a bit of a complaining about the walking. It is a massive festival and it obviously has to accommodate 100,000 people. So I don't know if there's much that they could do about the walking. And would the walking have been that bad if it wasn't 30 degrees out like the whole time we were there? Probably not.
I feel like people that go to Download always talk about the long walks, but it's mainly from the start of the arena to the campsite.
It wasn't unbearable at any point, and I kind of expect to walk that much when I'm at a huge festival. The only other thing that I would say that is a genuine complaint about our entire time at Download Festival was just the lack of shade that they had in the arena. Obviously, understand they did not expect it to be 30 degrees. The original forecast was for it to rain on the Saturday and the Sunday. Obviously, I can't fault them then on that, but I mean, even if it was going to rain during the weekend, you would want some kind of shelter to be there. I don't know. I don't run festivals. Maybe they were worried if they put up shelter and it was torrential rain like it has been in past years, it could flood and fall down on top of people or things like that. But there just honestly was not enough shaded areas in the entire arena. I think out of the entire arena, the only places that had shade, there was a bar, I think it was called the Taproot Bar. It had like a slatted roof above it, so the bar itself was shaded. The bar was not very big. There was always a queue to get in there and it was always very full. Even if you were dying and needed to get into the shade, you would probably end up queuing outside that bar for like at least a half an hour just to be able to get in and get into the shade. The only other actual shade that I can think of in the arena were the tents, the Dogtooth stage and the Krang Avalanche stage. And honestly, it was hotter inside of those tents than it was outside most of the time, just due to the amount of people that were in there and obviously the performances by the bands with pyro and lights and things like that. So you were better off literally sitting outside in the sun than you were by going into those tents. I definitely think a lot of people had this issue and complained about it and would love to see going forward them adding more shaded seating areas in the arena. It would help so much. Even if it rains and you don't get that crazy heat that you had this year, it would still be great to have somewhere that you could hide from the rain if you weren't watching a band.
The next question is from Devin J. Humphreys and it's, how did your makeup not melt off?
I am dripping sweat. It did.
We don't use setting spray or anything like that, so it's our fault. The next question is from Holly Destrange and it's, favourite sets or sets you're sad you missed?
Favourite sets, I think we kind of answered in the previous question. Sets you're sad you missed? I don't know. I can't think of anyone that we missed that I really wanted to see. No one really coming to mind. Oh, Evanescence. Seeing as I missed them, I watched Architects, which, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with Architects. They're a good band. I'm just not a massive fan. I saw them instead of seeing Evanescence. I would have much preferred to see Evanescence. But the trade-off was that we got an incredible spot for Bring Me the Horizon. So, and then obviously for the two of us,
Villavallo.
Yeah.
VV.
Again, he was on at the same time as Evanescence. So even if I wasn't at Architects trying to get a good position for Bring Me the Horizon, I probably would have seen Evanescence over VV purely because we saw VV's show in Manchester very recently. We're also going to be seeing VV headline at Mariluna very soon, and I've never seen Evanescence. We've never seen Evanescence live, either of us. I do think that was a scheduling error on Download's part.
Yeah, don't put like VV with Evanescence. We grew up listening to him and Evanescence at the same time.
I am pretty sure a lot of people made very difficult decisions at that festival to decide between which one of those that they would want to go see.
I really wanted to see Disturbed just so I could make the joke, so I'm very sad about that. I was sitting on the ground and I couldn't move. There was a screen in front of me. We were at the guest area, but I did want to be there, but I just couldn't move.
There were a few other bands that I wanted to see, but I knew it just wasn't feasible over the weekend because of clashes or things like that. I really wanted to see Carpenter Brut, but Carpenter Brut was also, as far as I remember, on the same time as Evanescence and Villavallo. I did want to see Coheed and Cambria, but they again also clashed with somebody, and I wanted to see Static Dress and Lorna Shore, but they were both on so very early in the day and there was just no feasible way we were going to be able to get up early to get to the festival on time to see that. We just about barely made it on time to see Ice Nine Kills on the Sunday, and they were on at like 2 p.m. or something like that.
So the last question is from Sean to be wild. Tips for anyone thinking of doing download who's never done a festival before. So I would say my first tip would be bring sun cream. Even if you don't know what the weather's gonna be like, bring sun cream, because even if you apply it, you might just like sweat it off, or it could just get washed off. You actually just need to reapply it, which is something that I have learned, because I did mine in the morning under my makeup and I thought it'd be fine, and I still got sunburned.
Comfortable shoes. Bring comfortable shoes.
I don't think I learnt my lesson.
If you really want to dress up and you want to have your big boots and things like that, bring a pair of slip-on comfortable shoes in a little bag with you for the walk to and from the festival, or just if at some point your feet are going to be hurting, you're going to be so thankful you brought a pair of comfortable slip-on shoes or something like that in a bag. It is worthwhile carrying them around with you.
The next one is to definitely bring your own water bottle, because there's more likely going to be free water that you can get at the event, and if not, then it's good to have your bottle, so you can, if they open a can and they don't let, or a bottle that they're not letting you have closed, you can just put it in there and close it up for later. The next one would be to bring a fan, a little fan, or a parasol or umbrella if you're allowed. A lot of festivals don't let you bring stuff like that in, but I did see people with them in download. I feel like they knew it was so hot that it wasn't safe for us to not have them, so I did see people with them, and I wish I had have gotten one.
Expect that you're going to miss some things. You can't do everything while you're there. It's just not possible. Even if you like perfectly synchronize your schedule that you're running from stage to stage, it's just not feasible to see every single band on the lineup.
You need some time to take care of yourself.
You need to allocate time to sit down, relax, hydrate, eat some food, and just genuinely relax and let your body recover a little bit. Sometimes it is worthwhile to maybe miss a band that you want to see, just to make sure that you have more energy for a bigger band you want to see later, or even just to make sure that you have enough energy to be okay later so that you make it home.
Yeah, that was all the questions for today. If you have any more questions that we didn't answer, then feel free to leave them below and we'll answer them in the comments.
As always, thank you so much for watching the video. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, as it helps us out a lot. And if you want to help support the channel, our Patreon is in the description down below. If you want to see the bloopers from the Download Festival vlog, they are up on Patreon right now.
If you want to see the heat affecting us and us acting like then make sure to go and check out the Patreon. It helps us a lot.
If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like, and as always, until next time, see you in your nightmares.